Welcome to African American History Lesson 44. In this video, we will learn about historically Black colleges and universities, HBCUs, Black Greek letter organizations, and Black education. In a nation that weaponized education as a tool of exclusion, African Americans made it a cornerstone of liberation. From the ashes of slavery and the betrayals of Reconstruction, Black communities built institutions of higher learning that cultivated minds, shaped leaders, and defied the myth of Black inferiority. These institutions were more than campuses, they were acts of resistance and hope. The founding of HBCUs in the late 19th and early 20th centuries marked a transformative moment in African American history. Created in response to segregation and the denial of educational opportunities, HBCUs provided rigorous academic instruction, professional training, and a space for cultural affirmation. Alongside these institutions, Black Greek letter organizations emerged as powerful networks for leadership development, civic engagement, and social mobility. Together, HBCUs and Black fraternal organizations reshaped what was possible for African Americans in the United States and beyond, producing generations of educators, activists, entrepreneurs, and intellectuals. Following the Civil War, African Americans faced systemic exclusion from white educational institutions due to segregation and racial discrimination. In response, Black leaders, religious communities, and allies established their own colleges and universities. These institutions were designed not only to educate, but also to uplift, a direct challenge to the racist belief that African Americans were intellectually inferior or unworthy of formal learning. The post-emancipation era gave rise to dozens of institutions committed to academic rigor, moral development, and community service. HBCUs became the backbone of Black higher education in America. The earliest HBCUs were primarily private institutions, often founded with the support of religious denominations and white philanthropists. Yet even in these spaces, African Americans asserted agency and vision. Wilberforce University in Ohio, founded in 1856 by the African Methodist Episcopal Church, became the first college to be fully owned and operated by African Americans. Wilberforce set a powerful precedent that Black institutions could control their governance, curriculum, and cultural mission while cultivating excellence and independence among their students. The expansion of HBCUs in the late 19th century was also shaped by federal legislation. The Second Morrill Act of 1890, which upheld segregated education, required states to provide land-grant institutions for Black students if they did not offer integrated access to white schools. This mandate led to the creation of 18 publicly funded HBCUs across the South. These colleges emphasized agricultural, mechanical, and industrial training, reflecting the era's practical educational needs, while also serving as sites of racial uplift and institutional legitimacy in a segregated nation. In the formative decades of HBCU development, two dominant educational philosophies emerged. Schools such as Fisk University championed a liberal arts education, aiming to produce critical thinkers, teachers, and leaders versed in literature, philosophy, and the arts. In contrast, institutions like Tuskegee Institute, under the leadership of Booker T. Washington, promoted vocational and industrial training as a path to economic self-reliance. This tension between classical and practical education sparked national debates about the best route to Black progress, reflecting broader struggles over race, labor, and citizenship in the post-Reconstruction era. Until the surge of integration during the Black campus movement of the 1960s, HBCUs served as the primary and often only avenues for African Americans to access higher education. These institutions produced the vast majority of Black doctors, lawyers, educators, and clergy in the United States throughout the 20th century. The founding of HBCUs dramatically expanded access to higher education and professional careers for African Americans. These schools equipped generations of students with the skills, confidence, and credentials needed to rise from poverty and assume positions of influence across every sector of society, from medicine and law to civil rights and the arts. The ripple effects extended beyond U.S. borders as graduates of HBCUs became diplomats, scholars, and change-makers throughout the African diaspora. HBCUs were more than academic institutions. They were cultural sanctuaries and ideological battlegrounds. These schools fostered a deep sense of Black pride, provided space for independent Black scholarship, and nurtured activism that challenged racial inequality. Students and faculty alike contributed to the development of African American studies, participated in civil rights struggles, and created legacies of intellectual resistance that continue to shape public discourse today. Out of the intellectual and cultural vibrancy of HBCUs came the rise of Black Greek letter organizations, BGLOs, which also took root at predominantly white institutions. Beginning with the founding of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, Inc. in 1906 at Cornell University, these fraternities and sororities created tight-knit communities committed to academic excellence, leadership, mutual support, and service. Among the prestigious members of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, Inc. is the author, Rashad K. Brown, a nationally recognized education reform leader, scholar practitioner, keynote speaker, strategic advisor on public education policy and equity, and author. He became a proud member while attending Florida AANDM University through the historic Beta Nu chapter, founded in 1932 by original Alpha Jewel Charles Henry Chapman. Other prominent Alpha Phi Alpha men also include civil rights icon Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., scholar Dr. Cornel West, and film producer Will Packer, whose movie Stomp the Yard introduced millions to the legacy of the Black Greek letter organizations known as the Divine Nine. The National Pan-Hellenic Council, NPHC, affectionately known as the Divine Nine, is a coalition of historically Black fraternities and sororities that have shaped African American collegiate and community life for over a century. Founded in 1930 at Howard University, the NPHC provides a united platform for its member organizations to collaborate in service, leadership, and advocacy. These organizations have nurtured generations of African American leaders, fostering networks that extend from college campuses to the highest levels of public service, business, the arts, and activism. Member organizations. The NPHC is composed of 9 distinct organizations, each with its own founding date, mission, and traditions, yet all bound by a shared commitment to uplifting African American communities. Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, Inc., founded 1906 at Cornell University. Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Inc., founded 1908 at Howard University. Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity, Inc., founded 1911 at Indiana University, Bloomington. Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, Inc., founded 1911 at Howard University. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, Inc., founded 1913 at Howard University. Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, Inc., founded 1914 at Howard University. Zeta Phi Beta Sorority, Inc., founded 1920 at Howard University. Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority, Inc., founded 1922 at Butler University. And Iota Phi Theta Fraternity, Inc., founded 1963 at Morgan State University. The emergence of these organizations must be understood in the context of segregation and limited access to mainstream fraternal networks. They provided African American students with spaces of belonging, leadership training, and academic support. Their existence challenged prevailing racial barriers by producing members who excelled academically, led campus movements, and engaged in direct action to address social inequities. The NPHC's influence extends far beyond college campuses. Collectively, its members have organized voter registration drives during the civil rights movement and beyond, raised millions for scholarships and educational initiatives, advocated for public health awareness, including HIV/AIDS education, cancer prevention, and mental health advocacy. Partnered with local, national, and international organizations to address poverty, education inequality, and community development. Today, the Divine Nine remains a visible and respected force in African American life. Membership often results in lifelong affiliation, with alumni networks providing mentorship, professional connections, and ongoing opportunities for service. Step shows, stroll competitions, and community projects showcase the vibrancy of these organizations, while their political and philanthropic work continues to shape public policy and civic engagement. The global impact of HBCUs was powerfully demonstrated by the Fisk Jubilee Singers, a student choir from Fisk University. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, they introduced African American spirituals to audiences across Europe and beyond, challenging stereotypes and raising funds for their school through their talent and discipline. Their performances dignified Black musical traditions and placed African American cultural contributions on the world stage, proving that Black education and Black artistry were inseparable forces of influence and pride. The picture of the Jubilee Singers of Fisk University, photographed in 1875, offers a rare visual and historical window into one of the most influential cultural and educational ambassadors of the Reconstruction era. Formed at Fisk University, an HBCU founded to educate formerly enslaved people, the Jubilee Singers used their voices to preserve and elevate the spirituals born out of slavery. This image captures the ensemble during their early international tours, where their dignified presence and powerful performances challenged racist assumptions and helped raise funds for their struggling institution. Far more than a choir, the Jubilee Singers were symbols of Black excellence, proof that African American artistry and intellect could captivate the world and transform public perceptions. The image, titled Botanist George Washington Carver with students in his laboratory at Tuskegee Institute, 1902, offers a profound snapshot of Black scientific achievement and educational innovation at the turn of the 20th century. Carver, one of the most respected African American scientists of his era, is shown here not only conducting research but mentoring students at Tuskegee Institute, an HBCU committed to vocational and agricultural excellence. This moment captures the broader mission of Tuskegee: to combine practical skills with intellectual rigor and transform education into a tool of racial uplift. Carver's legacy, as depicted in this image, represents the power of HBCUs to cultivate leadership in fields long denied to African Americans. The establishment of historically Black colleges and universities, along with the rise of Black Greek letter organizations, represents one of the most powerful legacies of self-determination in African American history. These institutions were born from exclusion, but were fueled by vision, spaces where academic excellence, cultural pride, and leadership development thrived against the backdrop of racial segregation. HBCUs equipped generations of African Americans with the tools to transform not only their own lives, but also their communities, their professions, and the nation. Likewise, BGLOs fostered lifelong bonds rooted in service, scholarship, and civic responsibility. Together, these educational and fraternal institutions have produced scholars, artists, scientists, educators, and activists whose impact is felt across the globe, and whose legacy continues to shape the Black intellectual tradition. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, please follow us on the social media platforms listed on the screen.